morning, children of K-Tech High School and Junior College. Today in our English session, children, we are all going to continue with our modal auxiliary verbs. And let's recapitulate what we have done in our previous session, little of it. Modal auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. They are divided into two parts, main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Now, auxiliary verbs are divided into three parts as we have done earlier: primary auxiliary verbs, modal verbs and semi-modals. As I told you, primary verbs are the verbs which we used in tenses. They are also helping verbs used ahead of your main verb, action words that is. Modal verbs will, shall, would, to, can, should, can, could, might, may, must, ought to. And semi-modals are need, dare and used to. These modals are very rarely used, but they are also called modals. Now, there is one thing very peculiar about this modal. They do not change with the subject and they are always without the infinitive. What is infinitive? To is written ahead of your main verb, to write, to sing. So there is no to over here. We write, can I sing? Right? Can you do this? You may come. So there is no to in the sentence. Right? So now let's see the meaning of it. Modals are modal auxiliary verbs are used to change the meaning of the other verbs. It is used to express mood of a person, attitude of a person, that is a speaker. That you can recognize the tone, I could say. Now these modal verb expresses ideas, attitudes and qualities, right? Like ability, giving or asking permission, reference to tenses, possibility, probability, obligations, giving advice, express invitations to express obstinate behavior, insistence to give order or command, to express habitual activities or behavior that has taken place in past. We have done in the previous session. And request. Rules are what? This modal remains unchanged in form irrespective to the person or a subject. I can, we can, he can, she can, they can, you can, right? Now let's start with must. Must is used when you are doing obligation or necessity. You must follow. So it's our necessity and it is obligation, it's our duty, right? So you must follow what? Traffic rules, right? You must follow your parents, what they say. You must obey. So it's an obligation. Determination, very much important. I must help them. You must help your parents. You must help your friends in need. So it's a determination. Order. When somebody is ordering, you must not sing here. Will you sing in a hospital? So no, you must not sing in the hospital. You must not live tomorrow. Inference you can say, I can give you a very nice word. That is andaza lagana kisi ka. Inference is that. You just have to infer. Like he has a sports bike, so he must be rich. Right? A teacher is visiting in a car, so my teacher is very rich. So that is inference. He has a sport bike, he must be rich. Must have is used when a past action is performed. When your sentence is in positive, you write down, you must have followed the instruction manual. Right? Must is written after your subject. And after that, there is a verb followed. So normally you can say, auxiliary verbs are written ahead of your main verb, right? We have done this previously. Now, when your sentence has to be written in a negative form, you write what? You must not have followed the instructions manual. Means not is written after your modal auxiliary and before your main verb followed. Interrogative, must you have followed the instruction? So here the must is shifted ahead of your subject when you write a sentence in the interrogative form. With WH question, when you form a question, so you write must after your WH. So that is why must you have followed the instructions manual. You would and used to. These are used for the past habitual activity. Means that was happening in past. Tina would go out for a morning walk with me. He would sing at noon. Means this was happening before. Steve used to go to college by train. I used to go to New York. That was, these things had happened in past. So your modal verbs like would and used is used before your main verb, right? Ought to. Now ought to is again a modal auxiliary verb which is used to perform moral duties and obligations. So when your sentence is in a positive form, ought is exactly written next to your subject. You ought to help the needy, example. When you are writing a negative sentence with ought, you ought not to help the thieves, right? So not is added after your auxiliary verb. See, they are helping, right? What is your verb over here? Help, right? Interrogative sentence, ought you to help the needy. So your ought auxiliary verb is shifted ahead of your subject when you want to make it interrogative. And negative, ought you not help to help the needy? Action which is not necessary. Whatever sometimes you do, sometimes that action is not necessary. He need not have gone to the movie. Means it was not necessary that he should go for a movie during exams. You do not need to do this for me. Means मेरे लिए ये करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Now with interrogative sentence, need I come back later? Means should I? Matlab, is it necessary that I come back? So these things are not necessary. Interrogative sentence means need is used when this action is not at all important or it is not necessary. Need he wait for you? In most of the cases, need is followed by not and it is used as a state of action that was not necessary. Dare. Normally it is dare is used with an obstinate behavior, right? In a negative form. You dare not go out in rain. Now, you dare not speak to him. Right? That is when your mother shouts or scolds. Dare you do this? I'll complain your dad. Dare you come late? I'll complain your dad. Right? So it is like your mother is threatening you. Interrogative. When you want to make a sentence interrogative, dare you go out in rain? Means she's shouting, right? Dare you speak to him? Interrogative. So with negative form, not is written after your modal auxiliary verb. You dare not go out in rain and you dare not speak to him. Let's do with the sentences. Now these are the fill in the blanks which I have already done for you. So I'll just read for you. You can't touch the painting in the museum. Could you help me to open this can, please? So it's a request. I should eat more vegetables to stay healthy. Children must not tell lies to the teachers. So it's an obligation. I would like to have better house. Can water boil under 100 degree? He was afraid he wouldn't arrive on time. Can somebody cook lunch? Yes, I will. So sometimes will is also there, but there is also one word can, which I have not highlighted it. So you have to make it can highlighting as also. You have to underline can also. You shouldn't smoke with that. Cough. It's what an advice. You may go to a Portugal in November. Permission. Choose a, now here you can get choose means you have to cross out. So I've already crossed out the wrong words and you can do the same, but you have to understand. We used to go there. I used to go in a crowded bus. 3. She used to wear cheap cap. Cheap material, sorry. She used to wear cheap material. I am used to an easy-going life. I am not used to drive his car. Again here ought. He must, ought and must. He must come to me this evening. He ought to come to me this evening. This program must have succeeded. You must not talk loudly. He ought not to talk loudly. He ought to have reached well in time. She ought to have done it earlier. He must not fight with his neighbor. Next, here also you have to choose and the answers are given below. Right? He dares or dares. So you have to use dares. Me to compete with him. I dare you compete with me. I dare you compete with me. I'm reading the answer, children. She dare not accept the challenge. He dare not to speak before me. I dare not to disobey him. She dare not to challenge me. I dare not act against your will. How dare you to neglect me? So you will be given, so you see this previously I have done for you. So this is another exercise where I have given so that you can cut also or write it in a different form also. Answer just below it. So there are different ways you can do it. Okay, children? Now, see again the same thing. I have given you 2 exercises of cancellation and 2 exercises where you can just write the answer below. So I'm just going to read the answer, solve exercise, and the questions are above. I need a good friend. I am in need of a good house. She does not need my help. Ram need not go there. She need hardly help of anybody. Need he meet you? Does she need to come there? You need not to quarrel over such a petty matters. You need not have to have sold your car. So children, these are the exercises which you will write in your notebook very neatly. There are different ways I have taught you how you can attempt the exercise. And I hope you have understood this modal auxiliary verbs very easy. I have simplified for you. So I would request you again to re-see the video for your better understanding. Love you all, children. Thank you and stay connected, children. And we are really, really, really missing you. Love you all.